Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. Today we're going to be speaking about the country of Nigeria, a country that has long struggled in the field of education. Literacy rates are only 65% and teachers there have to struggle with classroom sizes of between 50 and 90 pupils. Only the church-run schools are successful. To tell us more, it's my great privilege to welcome Father Roberto Castiglione, who was for 3 years a vocational teacher in Nigeria. Before we speak with Father Roberto, let's watch now a short report on the situation of education in Nigeria.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has long struggled with political and religious instability. As a result, 60% of the population is below the poverty line. Education is not a priority. Learning is a nightmare for students all across the nation. The literacy rate is only 65%. Education spending has decreased by 30% since 1996. Only private schools, specifically Catholic schools, which have been functioning successfully for decades, are making a meaningful impact in Nigeria.
The church is doing what the government should do because the government is not doing it, first thing. Secondly, even if the government were doing it, we believe that the church also has a role to play in social development of the people.
This is not just characteristic of Nigeria. Everywhere in Africa, education proposed by the Catholic Church is the best. Not only is it a model education in the spiritual sense, but also it is an education in the literal meaning of the word, an education of the individual.
In Nigeria, most schools are bereft of learning resources, tools and instruments. They are underfunded and poorly managed. Local districts lack the basic tools required to manage schools, conduct inspections, and train new staff and monitor teachers' performance. Most of the teachers are overstretched and overburdened with large classes of between 50 and 90 pupils, well beyond UNESCO recommendations, and well beyond the norm of 20 to 30 pupils per class in advanced nations.
In our school, we don't want to fatigue the children by cramming them into classrooms, as is often done in Africa. There are often 60 children in one class. We, on the other hand, decided that there should be no more than 30, a maximum 32 children per class. Our classrooms are big. They could easily hold more kids, but then teaching a child in those conditions does not bear fruit. The teacher cannot give more. Ultimately, the biggest loser is the child. As a result of our standpoint, the Minister of Education gave our school the mark of an academy, one of the first of such marks in Nigeria.
Although Nigeria's educational institutions in general are in dire need, the most troubled of the three tiers is the primary education sector. There are over 2,000 primary schools in Nigeria with no buildings of any type. Classes are often held under trees.
Because what is taught in the so-called government institutions is nothing to write home about. No proper teaching, because there is nothing to encourage the children in the school. If you go around the primary schools, there are no doors, there are no windows, there are no seats for the children. They sit on the ground. But when we were running school, things were very different.
Despite very poor conditions and lack of support from the Nigerian government, the Catholic Church has always made a positive difference, from the time of the earliest missions in the 19th century to the present day. Literacy courses are offered to the poorest country dwellers in their native tongue.
So this class now is the Hausa class, because since they don't speak the local language, they have their own different dialects. So we couldn't teach the different dialects, so we use Hausa for them. Just literacy. There's the literacy class now. Catechism class is on Sundays. So every other days they have literacy classes. Everybody wants to learn how to read and write. Just as it said that if you sleep in the dark, you don't need to be told that the day has break. Now in the villages, they discover that if you are not literate, something is lacking in you. And so there is this here, anywhere you go, first of all, if they accept to become Christians, the next question they will ask is that, Father, I want to learn how to read and write.
We tell them that education is light, education is freedom. During the dry season, when the farm work is over, we put on literacy courses where people will come, sometimes even whole families will come. The husband and the wife, they will come and we'll do literacy with them.
Providing literacy for the Nigerian people is not the first step in the education given by the Catholic Church. Local dialects are often written down so that people can feel comfortable in their learning. The Bishop of Cantagura has always believed that communicating in the local tongue with the people is the only effective method of education.
There's a proverb which says, when you come into a new area, you must respect the culture and the language. And it said, never forget that God was there before you came. When we came to northern Bargu, which is across the Niger, the local language, the local Kemberi language was only oral. It was a spoken language, it wasn't written. So then I saw in the rural villages, there was no good talking to them in Hausa. They wouldn't hear you. So I said, we'll have to do something. So I did a course on linguistics. Then I set up a team with myself and we got the language written down. Then I set up a Bible translation team. We have now printed the 4 Gospels in the Kemberi language. The New Testament is already in computer and we are doing revisions at the moment on it.
Dans le diocèse de Cantagora,
In the Diocese of Contabara, we met a 30-year-old woman. She learned to read just 3 months prior by reading our Bible for Kids in the Hausa language. Throughout the diocese, we discovered by what method these men, women and children learn to read and write. During these literacy courses, they really desire to learn, and they do so with great passion.
If you educate a boy or a girl, when they come back, they call others, and they pass on literacy to other people in the village as well. So literacy, very often, it's like lighting a fire. After a while, it continues from itself.
There's another block of classroom, about 4 classrooms, laboratory, library, and a hall this way.
Yes, it means it's not only primary school with laboratory.
Yeah.
Funding for the building of schools in Nigeria is scarce. Catholic communities do what they can, however, it is never enough. Father Anthony, who collected money in his own parish, is looking for support. Aid to the Church in Need has committed funds for the completion of his project.
By mid this year, we should be able to begin the use of the hall, because I think they are 90, I would say 85% completed, just to do the fittings, and they will begin to use it.
places such as the Nazareth School in Kaduna, where the Nazareth sisters have governed a primary school since 1998, children receive a sound education. The sisters provide each child with 1 meal per school day, books, as well as uniforms. Class size is small and the curriculum is engaging and varied.
Besides our regular school curriculum, we have developed computer courses, which the children take during the regular day. We also have home economics courses, French classes. We are thinking of opening a kind of workshop, which we don't have, and whose role is very important, a library workshop. A library will be very important for the 5th graders. Besides these things, we offer the children various field trips. We have taken them to the marble mines, the Coca-Cola factory, the airport, and other places.
Despite religious tension exhibited by the Islamic community toward Catholics, places such as the Nazareth School in Kaduna attract Muslim families. This is a testament to the quality of Catholic education in Nigeria and the truly altruistic nature of its long-standing history.
Not only in our school. In Kano, the Sisters of St. Louis have a large proportion of Muslim students who want their kids educated through a Catholic school. When you talk with many of our Muslim friends, they say that they were raised by the sisters of such and such a school. They are proud of the fact that they were raised, or their kids were raised, in a Catholic school, in a particular way, by sisters. So we can say that on one hand there are misunderstandings and conflicts between Catholics and Muslims, but on the other hand, that we desire unity. The education proposed by the Catholic Church in Nigeria, in southern Nigeria, like everywhere else in Africa, is the best. Schools such as St. Guy's and St. Thomas's offer education of the highest standard, and with one major requirement, that 80% of the students be Muslim. That says something about the recognition the Islamic community gives to Catholic education. It is painful to see kids crying. In July, we end the school year. We make it a big holiday. The children get all dressed up for their graduation, so they can move on to middle school. At the end of the ceremony, all you see is crying. The kids hug each other, their mum or dad. They don't want to leave. We tell them that they can always come back to the sisters for a visit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our program. We're here in Rome with Father Roberto Castiglione, who was a technical director for 3 years in Nigeria. Father Roberto, thank you for being here with us, first of all.
I'm very happy to be here.
Father Roberto, can you tell us, how is it that you arrived in Africa? Were you sent, was it a desire for you to go to Africa?
Yes, I had a great desire to go to Africa, and in fact I went to Africa before as a lay volunteer, and then only later on I realized, I took the final decision about my Salesian vocation, and eventually I joined Salesians. And then my superior, knowing my wish, my intention to spend my life as a religious in Africa, for sure, he accepted, and now he called me back to Africa after initial formation in Italy. Then I went back to Africa.
Now, you've been 3 years in Nigeria, but you've also been in other countries as well.
Yes, I've been 4 years in Kenya, where I had my theological formation. there not as a pastoral worker, only as a student, let us say.
If I can ask you, what is it that attracts you to Africa? What is it in the people that attracts you there?
At the beginning, my desire was to have an experience where I could live a different kind of life. And I found in Africa that it is possible. No? It is possible to help people, but also to approach life in a different way, which I found very difficult here in Western countries, my country in Italy. And then I met also many difficulties there, but I can say that what I was looking for, I got it.
And what was that?
It was the joy of putting really God and people before all, the anxieties that this Western way of life can present you.
Can you tell us what would have been your tasks as vocational director in Nigeria at the school?
I was the training director of the school, so it was not a very big school, about 150 young people, both boys and girls. We had 3 courses, plus a course which was specific for young people coming from oil area. In Nigeria there are problems, and we had some contact with the oil companies, and now and then they would send us some young people for formation. And so they are the main kind of people we met. The young people would come from many parts of Nigeria, not only from that part of Nigeria, because by now we start being known by several people, and people who come after they spread the voice, so relatives and friends, they later on come.
What other formations then would you offer the young people?
Yes, but we would stress a lot about, for example, being in a positive way in the society. Even more because Nigeria is a country that still need to build itself. Plenty of possibilities, but they are still building themselves. And so we really stressed a lot the importance of being a positive part of the society by getting a good knowledge, by working hard, honestly, being professional, and so on. And we stress a lot about this. And then for sure, we are also a Catholic mission, so for sure we talk also about the right way of relating with God, because it is a great thing to be able to stay in a positive way in a society, but we know that the fullest sense of life is acquired only when you get also the right relationship with God. Human beings are not enough.
The schools were open to Muslims as well as Christians.
Yeah, our area was basically a Christian area, but in the first year we had one student who was a Muslim, because there are some very small groups of Muslims in the area. And there was no problem for him to participate to our own way of, having school. He was actually a good boy, and we were also very happy because that was a practical way of showing that it is possible to relate in a positive way between Christians and Muslims. I think that we know that is a big problem in Nigeria as well as in many other countries. But I think that though interreligious dialogue is necessary, commissions are very important. But many times problems are solved in a practical way, by just staying together, by trying to understand each other, by knowing that what Christians at times say about Muslims are just prejudices and vice versa, and this helps a lot good relationship.
In fact, education is the foundation of dialogue.
Yes, for sure. In many sense, not only because just the knowledge of different faiths, but also in the sense that education also, by helping people to know themselves, they don't need to be aggressive towards other people.
Feel threatened by the others.
Yes, exactly.
What kind of practical training would the Vocational Institute offer the young people? What kind of activities?
Yes, we had courses for electromechanical students, and then we had a course for girls as secretaries. And then this other course, the specific one for these boys coming from oil area, they somehow mix up everything. It's just some small knowledge, general knowledge, and then the companies will give further formation specific for what they need from them.
What would you say are still the unique challenges that the Catholic Church faces in education in Nigeria?
I think there are two kinds of problems. One is economical, for sure, because it is true that the church, still in a poor country like Nigeria and as Africa is, but still succeeds in helping people with, their own projects, by getting money by themselves. And we may say that they do quite a big job, but it's still not enough, because we know Africa is very, very poor place, and really the needs of people are very, very, very large, very deep, and so this is the problem. And but this is not just a matter of building structures, and the problem is also broader, because without money, without funds, it is not possible to give a good formation to the teachers. It's not possible to give them salaries good enough so that they may take this job as a vocation, not just a job.
To support the family.
Yes, because then they have to take care of large families and so on. And another very big problem is that what I have found is that, unfortunately, in Africa too, as it is in many Western countries, the problem of the destruction of families. We see that even in Africa, unfortunately, Western world has entered, not always in a positive way, but also in the negative way.
For example?
One example that I can give, in the place where I've been, till a few years ago, wouldn't be possible to see a street boy, because even if one would remain orphan because of sickness, because of other kind of things, the large family would take care of him or her. But now, if you go to Onitsha, to the town, which is a large town, about 2 million people, you may start seeing street children. That is a sign that the families are, I don't know, not either because they are poor, very poor, or because the values are being disrupted. And so you may see street children begging for money.
What would have been the greatest challenge?
But for sure, the difference of culture has been a very great challenge for me in positive and negative sense. Positive because really it helped me to deepen my faith, first of all, because meeting people who would face life in a different way, would challenge me as far as concerned what is really the essential, the foundation of my faith, and what is just Western culture. So my personal job was to try to separate what is actually my faith, which was my commitment to try to share with them, and what is instead my Western way of living my faith, and I am not supposed to impose on them this way of living my faith.
What did you discover of yourself?
That I needed a greater faith, because really there are many challenges, and people in Nigeria, at least places where I've been, expect a lot from missionaries and from church people generally. They expect a lot because we are considered people of God, and therefore we have a kind of wisdom that maybe normal people may not have.
Father, what is it that you can bring as a priest now that perhaps you couldn't, obviously other than the sacraments, that you couldn't offer as a lay leader?
I personally feel much richer inside than when I was just a lay volunteer. And it depends for sure on my personal journey of faith, independently from the fact of having decided to become a priest. But really, as I said, my journey of faith, I think, was deepened because of this experience. And I think more awareness of what I can give to them, more awareness of what I can receive from them, more awareness of is really important in life, without saying that I am already arrived, because myself I'm still on journey, and so I am still also educating myself, if we want to use that term. And but this is what I think I may bring.
You would spend the rest of your life in Africa if you could?
If I can, yes. But once I become Salesian, then my superior decides.
Father Roberto Castiglione, thank you very much for having been with us today. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching our program. If you would like to know more information about the work of the Salesians in Africa, or perhaps how you might be able to help, I would encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Where God Weeps.